Hello, good morning. Tax. Our favourite but least favourite topic of conversation. It's boring, isn't it? I mean, it's really dull to keep listening to the news every day to find something else that you enjoy and like will be taxed. Although, to be fair, we are all getting to the point where we don't do anything that we enjoy or we like anyway because we can't afford to. So it's sort of slightly immaterial. And I think that was the plan, wasn't it? I mean, it was make everything so flipping expensive so that by the time we told you we were going to tax it, you would be desensitised because you couldn't afford it. I mean, you haven't had the heating on in a year, so why would it matter now if prices have gone through the roof? You couldn't afford it in the first place, so whatever, good luck with that. But it is all over the news, and there's cunning ways that Rachel Reeves is trying to tax us. Because she said she's not going to raise income tax, despite the fact that she is raising income tax, but she's just not doing it by adding 2p onto it. She's freezing and changing and moving thresholds. So effectively, where people weren't paying a particular or weren't in a particular threshold, they will be now. So it could cost your average family up to about about £1,000 a year. The 10,000 figure came from by reducing the 2-child cap. Families could gain an extra £10,000 a year. I know. What would you do with that? What would I do with that? I mean, that's like a lottery win for me. Turns out I should have just had 3 children. There we go. So that's what we're doing. We are trying to claw tax through many different ways. Now, there's the pension one. So with the pension one, we are limiting the tax break on pension contributions for employers and employees. I mean, I love it when they say it's a tax break. Everything's a tax break, isn't it? It's the language that they use so that... Look at the dogs. Sausage and Badgie. Sorry, digressed. Look, you see, Badgie can't get comfortable because Sausage has nicked his space and she's absolutely not moving at all. She's like, I'm small, but perfectly formed and I'm nicking the spot. Anyway, I digress. I'll leave that there and you can look at them. I know you love the dogs. Tax breaks is effectively anything that wasn't taxed before, so therefore must have been a break. I mean, you or I might say it just wasn't taxed before because that would be fucking ridiculous, but she's calling it a tax break. So you are now taxed when making a pension contribution, taxed when you receive your pension income, and then your family will be taxed on any inheritance of a pension left behind. Now, we're fast hurtling to the point where nobody's going to be leaving any pension behind. I mean, who can? There is no pension to leave behind because everyone's having to spend it. But that's theoretically, if we weren't in such an economical shit show, that's theoretically what would be happening. You would be taxed 3 ways. And actually, it's 4 ways, isn't it? Because you're taxed when you're making a pension contribution, but you're making a pension contribution from income. So or saving, and you've already been taxed on that anyway. So, I mean, it's just the never-ending circle of tax. And then the next thing that we're doing, which made me laugh out loud actually, and this is being sold as not as well. I'm sure it is ending the tax breaks because that's everything, isn't it? Faster and Furious. No, that's a film. Anyway, you know what I mean. Another tagline. We are taxing milkshakes. That's right. Now we're doing it to save you from the calories. That's why we're doing it. We're doing it to keep you safe. That's right. We are doing it to make you healthy. Even if you don't want to be healthy, we're doing it to make you healthy. Now, I sort of sit on the fence a little bit with this making you healthy type thing. I definitely think that there is a burden on the NHS from an awful lot of unhealthy choices that we all make at certain times in our life, for sure. But then there's this whole sort of like, if I want to be unhealthy, can I not be unhealthy? I mean, I have just had a mince pie with icing on the top, no less. Saw them in Aldi, thought, why the hell not? Shall I tell you why the hell not? Gross. It's one for the kids. It's not a thing. I like a Bakewell tart with the icing on the top. I do not like a mince pie with the icing on the top. We have learned today. But every day is a school day. So, by taxing these milkshakes, we're doing it under the guise of making you healthy, whether you wanted to be healthy or not. And it's caused furore within the industry because it's going to add an extra 5% onto these milky drinks. But you will reduce your calorific intake by not having one by half a grape a day. Now, whilst I am all on board with us being healthier and fitter, and I absolutely see the link between unhealthy, unfit and burden on the NHS, I think we all see that link, don't we? Half a grape a day doesn't strike me as though we're suddenly going to be opening new wards and new CT scanners and new MRI scanners, does it? Because half a grape a day is half a grape a day, but it's actually taking it out of the reach of people that need them. And it's also very interesting that we're taxing milky, sugary sort of breakfast products, yet when we're saying they're bad. But on the other hand, we're dishing them out for free to children in schools. Now, of course, we're not dishing them out for free. You and I have paid for them already. So they're not free. They're taxpayer funded. But what they are, and this is becoming more and more widespread now, is it's a slice of white bread toast. And I say bread because they're not actually, like if you look at it on the pictures, it doesn't look like it's in a toaster. With jam and butter, well, margarine, it's not even butter, margarine on it. Then we've got lots of cereals, you know, your Cocoa Pops and your Cheerios and all that kind of stuff, which, don't get me wrong, who doesn't love a Cocoa Pop and a Cheerio? But we're taxing them because they're bad for you, yet we're giving them to kids in schools. Then a lot of these pre-packaged breakfast pastries, which is sort of like a Danish pastry or a pain au chocolat type thing, which actually sort of resembles a pain au chocolat or a Danish pastry in name only. But what it actually looks like is just some pastry in some packaging, sort of UPF on steroids. But we're giving these out to kids, and the milky drinks. Now, what are we going to do here? We are going to push up the prices of the taxpayer-funded breakfasts that the kids that don't need it are having. We are promoting the milky drinks and the cereals and the sugary food at breakfast time, but we are not it's all right for the state to have it, but it's not all right for families to have it. And we're ignoring the fact that when these free breakfasts were run by Kellogg's, Greggs, Magic Breakfasts, children were actually getting a fairly balanced breakfast. So there was wholemeal bread, grained bread, there were whole grains, there was porridge, there was fruit, there were all the nice things, whereas now we're just pre-packaged. But we're saying you can't do that, but we can do that. The government can do that, and we'll charge the taxpayer by putting a tax on it, because that's all right, because you're already paying anyway, so fuck it, what's a bit more? But you can't buy it because that's unhealthy, and then that's going to really detrimentally hurt the NHS. And this is going to be a very unpopular comment, but I'm going to make it because I feel like I have to be honest, and it's an observation of mine. In the imaging for the free breakfasts, which, let's remind ourselves, were to feed children that weren't having breakfast. That was the original reason for it. And then it was rolled out to everybody because it will change your life chances if you've got a free breakfast. Now, I want to be really, really explicit with what I'm saying now. I think any child who needs food should have it. I think any child that needs a breakfast or needs a free school meal or needs a free dinner should get it. And I think they should get it 365 days a year, not just in term time. And I think they should get a quality meal. So before anyone starts keyboard warrioring saying, I can't believe you would deny a child food, I'm not denying a child food. But when I look at the images of these free breakfasts and all of these children that have been used in the PR, a lot of them do not look like they need a breakfast. Now, I'm not being cruel, I'm just being factual. And we have a lot of children saying they love their second breakfast. And a lot of these breakfast clubs start at 8:15. Now, school starts at 8:30 or 8:45, and they've already had their breakfast, and mum and dad are not getting any further time to go to work. So the whole point of them is null and void, and we're pumping them with sugar. And what we're doing in this, and this is the bit where I get annoyed by people that say, oh, you're just denying a child food. I'm not. If you look at what the food was like when children were on free school meals, the amount of children that needed them, it wasn't up to standard then. It was no way near up to standard then. Now we're reducing budget from that. It's a million miles off. So the kids that actually need a proper meal because they're unable to get one at home are now getting even less quality, and that's not on. That it doesn't matter how you dress it up, to me, It is not okay to give child A a second breakfast, but child B, who didn't get a first breakfast in the first place, is getting some pre-packaged crap and a piece of white bread with jam on it. No. That child before, with Magic Breakfasts and Kellogg's Breakfasts and Greg's Breakfast, was getting a proper breakfast, and the quality of their free school lunch was better. It wasn't good, it was better. Now they're getting crap quality, not as much, and children that don't need it are getting it, and all of it is sugary, which we're taxing you and me for. So yet again, the right hand hasn't spoken to the left hand, and children, in this instance, are being ignored again. Their needs are not being met again. And yet we're selling this under Bridget Phillipson's I'm doing amazing things for school children, and under Rachel Reeves's, well, I can't put 2p on tax, so I'm going to have to find another way to do it. And it's like, no. Stop spending. Have a look at how much it's costing to lift the 2-child cap. Have a look. We can't afford it. Have a look at how much money we've given to overseas projects. We can't afford it. Have a look at how much money we've put into net zero. We can't afford it. Now, whether we would like to be doing all of these things or not is immaterial. This country is broke and we can't afford any of that. And so now we're trying to find little things to tax so that we can raise, the milk tax, I think they said, would raise up to 50 to 100 million. Somebody put on here what the debt repayments were a day. Oh, I think, that 50 to 100 million isn't going to cover much of our debt. But it is going to make life that's already difficult for a lot of children even more difficult. It's going to make life really difficult for a lot of parents. So I used to give my son those milky drinks when he came back from swimming. He used to swim in the morning, he'd be in the water by 5 a.m. and I'd pick him up at 7:30 to take him to school. And the only way I could get protein and sugar and anything into his tummy was by those milky drinks. I didn't particularly like them. I didn't particularly rate them. They were sugary, but they were a means to an end. And I would do that and balance it with other things. So he'd have one of them and a banana, or I'd make him a bacon roll and a banana and a milky drink or whatever. I did whatever I could to get calories into him and to meet his needs. And for a lot of parents, these drinks are a way to meet their children's needs in a climate that is not meeting their children's needs. So I think Rachel Reeves, I think she needs to think very carefully about a lot of things she's doing. But Rachel, if you're watching this, the impact of some of your tax raids is perhaps nuanced to you, perhaps because you can't see this stuff because you're not living in this world. But this 50 to 100 million pounds that you're going to raise is actually detrimentally life-changing for families and children. And it's another example about how the working people, which Rachel claims she's on the side of, is being hit the hardest. And you can't undo that. This is now shaping families' futures for an entire generation, all because she cocked the books up and she couldn't fill the fictitious black hole, and she created an even bigger one. And children are paying the price for it. And I'm not even sorry by saying any of that. She should be.